Ladies and gentlemen, there is a truth that most people would rather not confront, a truth that is inconvenient, difficult, and often painful to accept. But it is a truth that if you dare to embrace it, will change your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. The truth is this: the price of greatness is responsibility. You see, we live in a world where people want rewards without effort, success without sacrifice, and recognition without the burden of duty. But that is not how the world works. That is not how life unfolds. Nothing of true value is ever achieved without the weight of responsibility pressing upon your shoulders. And the greater the goal, the heavier the burden. Think for a moment about the people you admire, the ones who have accomplished extraordinary things. Do you believe their success was handed to them? Do you believe they arrived at greatness by sheer luck or some cosmic accident? No, of course not. They bore the burden of responsibility. They chose to carry more than was required of them. They chose to hold themselves to a higher standard. And it was precisely that choice, the choice to take on responsibility, that set them apart. Responsibility is the act of standing up and saying, this is my duty, this is my problem to solve, this is my burden to bear. It is the rejection of excuses, the refusal to play the victim, and the acceptance that if your life is to be meaningful, it will be because you made it so. Most people avoid responsibility because it is difficult. It demands effort, discipline, and sacrifice. It requires you to confront your own weaknesses, to push beyond comfort, and to endure hardship without complaint. And yet, it is the only path to greatness. There is no shortcut. There is no other way. Consider for a moment what happens when responsibility is rejected. Look around, and you will see people trapped in mediocrity, not because they lack talent or potential, but because they refuse to bear the burden of responsibility. They drift through life, blaming circumstances, blaming others, blaming fate, but deep down they know the truth. They know that the life they are living is the result of their choices, the choice to evade responsibility, to take the easy road, to avoid the discomfort of growth. Responsibility is not a punishment, it is a gift. It is the mechanism through which you transform yourself into something greater. The more responsibility you take, the stronger you become. The more weight you carry, the more capable you are of carrying even more. It is the process through which character is forged, wisdom is gained, and true success is earned. And yet there is a cost. Nothing comes for free. Responsibility requires sacrifice. It demands that you let go of childish fantasies, that you abandon the illusion of an easy life, that you willingly place yourself in situations of struggle and hardship. But what is the alternative? A life without responsibility is a life without meaning. It is a life of drifting, of emptiness, of perpetual dissatisfaction. So, if you want greatness, if you want a life that is truly remarkable, you must be willing to embrace responsibility fully. You must stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems, to give you permission, to hand you success on a silver platter. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. It is up to you. It has always been up to you. You might say, but life is unfair. Yes, it is. Life is brutally unfair. Some people start with more advantages than others. Some face greater hardships than they deserve. But fairness is not the measure of success. Responsibility is. It does not matter where you begin. It does not matter what disadvantages you face. What matters is what you do with what you have. What matters is whether you take responsibility for improving your situation, no matter how difficult, no matter how unfair. And here is the paradox. The more responsibility you take, the more freedom you gain. Most people think freedom means escaping responsibility, but the opposite is true. The person who takes no responsibility for their health becomes a slave to illness. The person who takes no responsibility for their finances becomes a prisoner of debt. The person who takes no responsibility for their mind becomes a puppet of their emotions. But the one who embraces responsibility, who disciplines themselves, who demands excellence, who accepts the burden of effort gains freedom in every sense. The world is full of people who are waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting for someone to tell them what to do. But the ones who achieve greatness are not the ones who wait. They are the ones who act. They are the ones who seize responsibility with both hands and say, "This is my life and I will shape it as I see fit." Look at history, and you will see that every person who changed the world was defined by their willingness to take on immense responsibility. They were not necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest, but they were the ones who said, "I will bear the burden." They were the ones who saw a problem and decided it was their duty to solve it. They were the ones who understood that responsibility is the weight that builds greatness. And so, the question you must ask yourself is this: what responsibility are you avoiding? What burden have you refused to carry? What part of your life have you neglected because it is easier to ignore than to confront? If you are struggling, if you feel lost, if you are frustrated with where you are in life, the answer is not to complain or make excuses. The answer is to take on more responsibility. Find something difficult, something meaningful, and make it your duty. Take ownership of your actions, your choices, your future. This is not easy. It never will be. But nothing worthwhile ever is. The greatest achievements, the deepest fulfillment, the strongest character, all of it is built through responsibility. So stop waiting. Stop looking for an escape. Stop hoping that someone else will do it for you. Take responsibility for your life, for your dreams, for your destiny. Pay the price of greatness, and you will be rewarded with a life of purpose, strength, and meaning. So, the choice is yours. Will you shrink from responsibility, avoiding the weight that could shape you into something greater? Or will you step forward, embrace the burden, and carve a life of meaning and excellence? No one can make this decision for you.